In this video, I will be sharing with you a complete step-by-step guide on how to lean bulk. If you're new to visiting my channel, then welcome. My name is Matty, and I make weekly content on fitness, nutrition, and injury rehabilitation through the lens of a specialist physiotherapist, qualified personal trainer, and male model. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. Firstly, we need to understand what bulking is. Bulking is a common term in the bodybuilding world, and the definition is to build muscle whilst minimizing fat gain. And it involves eating more than you normally would, so putting yourself in a caloric surplus, in combination with a tailored exercise program. And the duration can be a few months, depending on your goals. You might have heard the term newbie gains. This is when someone who is very new to strength training is able to put on muscle while losing fat at the same time.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Just because it's a very new stimulus to them, it is possible. But as you get on with your training journey, it becomes very difficult to do that. A lot of people ask, what about dirty bulking? And how is it different from lean or clean bulking? Dirty bulking is a short-term extreme weight gain method that involves the consumption of a lot of extra calories, mainly from unhealthy, calorie-dense processed foods. Lean bulking, also known as clean bulking, involves gaining muscle while minimizing fat gain by eating in a small caloric surplus, such as whole foods, grains, starchy vegetables, and healthy fats. This video will help you focus on beginning a lean bulk as opposed to a dirty bulk. If you lean bulk, you're going to be healthier in general. You're going to have less unwanted fat gain, which means also an easier cutting phase when it comes to it, improve body composition, and improve sustainability. One thing to note, which I'm going to come on to a little bit later on in the video, is that you won't be able to put on that much muscle mass in a short amount of time. So those extra calories that you're eating, as we mentioned, just become fat if you dirty bulk. How do you create a bulking plan? How do you create a lean bulking plan? Well, the first thing is to create a small caloric surplus, so eating slightly more than you burn. The theory is that all those extra calories that you consume will turn into muscle with a tailored exercise program. This is not 100% true. Not all the calories you consume will become muscle. Building muscle is a difficult, arduous process. You will need to give your body a reason to build that muscle. This is also known as progressive overload, which again, we will cover in just a bit. So aim for a caloric surplus of around 200 to 400 calories. You can go up to about 500. You can go as low as about 100, 150. If you're a new lifter, then you can eat close to that 400, 500 calorie surplus because you're going to be able to put on muscle quicker than someone who's been lifting a little while longer than you. It is not easy to gain muscle. It is simple, but it's not easy. How to calculate your bulking calories? Well, first you need to find your maintenance. This is the calories that you would consume in a normal day throughout a long period of time to neither gain nor lose weight. So there's two ways to do this. The first way is slightly less accurate, and that is to use a total daily energy expenditure calculator, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. You put your height, your weight, your rough body fat percentage that you think you're at, and it will go into a system for fancy numbers and stats and things, and it will calculate your estimated approximate daily calorie intake. The other way you can do it is to get an app like MyFitnessPal, or to write it down. Doesn't really make a difference, but track your food, exactly what you eat in a week normally. Don't worry about eating more, eating less, just what do you eat normally in a week. And what you find is that if you weigh yourself at the start of the week and at the end of the week and you eat normally, you will neither gain nor lose weight, which is great because congratulations, you found your maintenance calories. For example, let's say your maintenance calories are 2,800. Now you want to add a small caloric surplus between 200 to 500 calories as we discussed. I'm going to go with 350 because it's bang in the middle. So add 350 calories to 2,800 and you get 3,150 calories. These are your bulking calories. Now you need to calculate your macros. Macronutrients are the nutrients that we need in large quantities, i.e. proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. If you guys are interested, I've made an earlier video on how much protein do you actually need, which I go into more depth about. I'll leave a link in the description below. But according to the 449 rule, there are 4 calories per gram of protein, 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates, and 9 calories per gram of fat. Calculating protein, without going into too much detail in this video, when you are bulking, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight should be sufficient. Obviously, there's no harm in going a little bit higher, going for 1 gram per pound of body weight. So for a 200-pound person, 200-pound man, let's just say 200-pound man, he would need approximately 160 grams of protein per day. He could go a little bit higher, 170, 180, 190, up to 200. It's going to be less beneficial to go higher when you can eat more carbohydrates and more fats, which are the more fun foods. Now, calculating fats. So according to the RDA, 0.2 to 0.4 grams per pound of body weight. We will go towards the higher end, 0.4 grams, which is a little bit more fun. So this means that if you are a 200-pound man, this is about 80 grams of fat per day. Which brings us on to the next section, which is calculating carbohydrate calories, or calculating calories from carbohydrates. So you already have your numbers for your protein and for your fat. Now we need to calculate the calories for each of these. So with 160 grams of protein, we times it by 4 because of the 449 rule, and this gives us 640 calories from protein. Next we have fats, and we know that there are 9 calories per gram of fat, so we do 9 times by 80, which gives you 720 calories. And then we add these together and we subtract this from 3,150 calories, which gives you 1,790 calories for carbohydrates. Divided by 4, because the 449 rule, there are 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate. And that gives you a grand total of 447.5 grams of carbohydrates, which we would round up to 448 grams. So that gives us final macronutrients of 160 grams of protein, which is the equivalent of 640 calories, 448 grams of carbohydrates, which is the equivalent of 1,790 calories, and 80 grams of fat, which is 720 calories. Now use this as a starting point. Counting macros has a certain element of experimentation to it. You might find that you do slightly better on a high fat diet, and therefore you can make the adjustments accordingly, or you might find that you prefer lowering the fats and eating more carbohydrates. See what works for you. Great, so you know how to bulk now. Let me just give you a couple tips. Prioritize eating whole foods before a workout. So this would be beef, fish, chicken, fruits, whole grain. It's going to mean that you can go harder in the gym and therefore you're going to be able to get stronger and put on more muscle mass. If you're going to eat out in a restaurant or you're going to get a takeaway, that's fine. We're all human. We deserve to eat nice foods, but make sure that you do it after a workout. So all those bad calories, if you like, will go to refueling your glycogen and will promote those gains. You also want to follow a proper strength training program that utilizes progressive overload. You want to aim for around 8 to 9 hours of sleep per night. If you want to get more micronutrients in, these are the nutrients we need in really small quantities, so your vitamins and your minerals, but you don't want to eat too many vegetables because either you, like myself, you don't like vegetables that much, they don't really taste that good anyway. You can blend them. You can blend them into a green juice. I like to call this juicing. Now bear in mind that it will take time to see changes in your physique. You will see the visible changes much slower than you would if you were dieting, getting shredded, cutting, Let's talk about strength training. If you eat in a caloric surplus but you don't strength train, you're just going to get fat. There's no sugarcoating it. But of course we have to train in the right way. If you guys need guidance, then I have made a video on how to get started working out. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. If you want a free basic 4-day-a-week program that I have made, then I will also leave a link in the description below. But I've also created a complete guide on how to build an aesthetic body. And additionally, I'm working on a bulking program, how to lean bulk. Building muscle is no easy feat. You have to give your body a reason to put on that muscle, to adapt. Each session, your goal is to beat what you did last time in some way. This is known as progressive overload. You could do more reps, more weight, hold a pause when you're doing the movement, so like a squat, a pause squat, or you could do a pause bench press. Rest a shorter period of time between sets. You could even do more sets. These are just a few of the ways that you can progressively overload. And of course, doing this slowly over time, while eating a caloric surplus, you will put on lean muscle mass. And maybe a tiny bit of fat, but that is unavoidable. And as we briefly touched on earlier, you want to get around 8 to 9 hours sleep per night. This is because a lot of the processes that involve building muscle, recovering, getting stronger, your general health, all of those things, plus loads of health benefits on your body and your mind will happen when you're sleeping. So prioritize that sleep. I've made so many videos on sleep as well. Now, I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed this video. Again, if you're ready to take the next step in changing your body for the better, then go and check out my exercise programs. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found.